Thank you. Can you all hear me? Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful kickoff for Automation Edge, RPA, AI, ITPA Summit 2020. So I was telling yesterday also at our Partner Connect Day, we had a meeting of about 100 of our partners, room full, where we said 2020 is the year for beckoning for all of us. It's again reminds us back of our millennium year of 2000, when there was a lot of excitement, some nervousness, but that nervousness is not there for 2020 for sure. But the amount of change that has happened, and the transformation over the last 20 years have been amazing. And what best year for us as Automation Edge to go and take a leapfrog into the next world of digital transformation, working with our esteemed customers here, partners. So I just want to highlight what's happening in terms of what our theme for our summit today: discover, automate, and transform. We have our customers here, right from banks, large insurance companies, we have retail, we have healthcare, telecom customers from all over the world. And they are trying to go from the traditional, the old age way of working, operating in terms of reaching out to their customers and growing their businesses, to the new new way of having real-time customer engagement, using omni-channels, and also having some way of connecting with your partners and ecosystem. You cannot go all out anymore by yourself to acquire new products and services and then roll them out to your customers. So we, as Automation Edge, are going to enable that and transform your businesses working together as partners. I'm just going to highlight our analysts. And actually, Gartner, who is our partner also in the sense that they have been kind of tracking our transformation, and they have said that the automation space is just going through a transformation here. The spectrum has gone from a narrow routine task automation to process automation, where there are tools and technologies out there which are very point solutions to process orchestration, and then eventually business operations recreations. So if you see this spectrum, we see that the customers, they are not only just looking at immediate savings by reducing cost for labor or improving SLAs, but they're also going and having a revenue shift in terms of higher profit margins and then creating new wealth and opportunities and business creation, and recalibrating their business models. So we know that now it's a bot economy. And how bot economy has evolved over the years, over the last decade or so. Probably about 5-7 years back, nobody knew. Every time we said robot, people thought it was a physical bot. But now we see that right from baby to the left side, he or she has a bot the day he is born. He's glued to it. So is the kids that are the next generation, the 5G, 6G kids are hanging on to the bots. And now at the workplace, it has consumed us, where we have bot managers managing a bunch of bots trying to transform the businesses, where we also have a lot of collaboration happening in this bot economy, where humans are working alongside bots to create more opportunities and improve the business transformation and efficiencies. At the same time, we see that there's a little bit of a yellow sign here, a warning for all of us to say that these bots can be overwhelmed in terms of how you're deploying them in your environments and managing them. So you don't want them to become bottlenecks where the bots are trying to say that if you have a shortage of bots, workers have some unpredictability if they are abused. So we want to make sure that we want to align to a platform which is kind of where you're efficiently using the bots to the extent where it is transforming your businesses. I want to thank all the customers who are here in this room and all over the global customers. This is being live streamed globally here. So I want to give them a big hand. So just give a big hand to yourself, all of them, for Automation Edge. And you see here, these customers are all over the world, right from Europe, North America, to India, to APAC. And thank you for the business that you're doing with us. I also want to thank all our partners. A big hand to all the partners who have become part of Automation Edge ecosystem, and they have the conviction to align with us in this transformation journey working with our esteemed customers. Without further ado, let me, like Kunal already said, we have a jam-packed agenda today for Summit. I want to now invite our CEO or co-founder, Uday Birajdar. I want to give a quick snapshot of Uday. Uday has had humble beginnings as a computer scientist, engineer early on from Walchand School of Engineering, from Sangli. Then he was at NCST as a visiting scientist. Then he worked for L&T Engineering for a couple of years. Then he worked for BMC and Veritas as product management capacity. Then he thought, it's the right time with the revolution of technology and businesses that were happening in the 90s and early 2000s. He, along with Prasad Patwa, started Vyom Labs, our flagship parent company, who has more than 1,000 employees, which is IT service management, IT operations, and automation space. 5 years back, Uday conceived this automation space, and with the customer experiences we had, he conceived Automation Edge and initially rolled out IT automation, and then we went into ITPA, RPA, robotic process automation, and then finally AI. Here we are in our 4th year of operations with a room full of 300 plus people. So excitement just keeps going up in terms of how Uday and team have come so far. So thank you again, once again. Let me introduce Uday Birajdar, CEO and co-founder of Automation Edge.
Summit 2020, and I'm really excited the kind of lineup we have today. We are getting into an exciting scenarios. Hello, thank you. Right. So the kind of scenarios which we are seeing as the organizations which are out there. So we are in this time of an incredible change, and this incredible change, when we look at, there are kind of things which are coming up, which are 5G, which is getting launched this year. Around 10% of the service providers, the telecom service providers, will be launching 5G technology. And with that, the number of devices which will kind of increase from current around 20 billion devices, so it will go to around 500 billion devices. It's not only about the devices and communication between humans, but it's about communication and the technology being enabled for the kind of things which machine can talk to machines, right? With that kind of a combination, the amount of automation which would be required will be of incredible scale. It is humanly impossible to handle the number of sensors which will get basically attached and the number of devices which are going to be there. Also, we see that there are things which are about AI. And when we talk about AI, we are talking about the job losses, right? And that's what we get to hear. But if you see Gartner's report, what they are talking about is net around 0.5 million jobs will get added if you take effect of the jobs which will get reduced versus the jobs which get added. The net effect is around 0.5 million jobs will get added this year. And with the AI, there will be the productivity gain, which the employees will see and organization will see, is around 6.2 billion number of hours, which will get into productive hours. So this is what we see as the changes and the pace of change as far as the outside world or the overall trends which are going on. When we look at our customers, the kind of things which they are seeing as the change in their organization is also of a tremendous size and scale, right? What we are talking about customers who are able to bring in this kind of a change for their organization, where they are doing is 5 million loan applications per year, right? And helping their credit managers take the decision of to give a loan or not, reducing that time by 50%. There are other organizations where we are seeing that they are able to add a completely new business lines. So one of our customers, they are able to go into a market which was unaddressable for them. Using the digital technologies which are available, they are able to do is around 90% of the corporate policies which they quote and issue is handled by AutomationEdge bots or the technologies which is available there. There are companies who are doing is month-end salaries, EFTs, and such processes to the tune of around $3 billion per month, I'm talking about, right? And there are organizations which are there who are automating 50% of their IT tickets, which comes to around 10,000 out of 20,000 tickets per month using this technology. So this is the kind of a change which is possible for the traditional enterprises to bring in with the digital technologies which are available now and here. So we see that there is every organization in the world and most of the verticals are facing the headwind because of the new age digital companies. So what these digital companies have advantage is that they have the new business model and the digital stack at their hand. With that digital stack, what they bring in is initially a very small change, which is unnoticeable. Actually, it is deceptive. At times, it looks like a linear curve here, as you see it, right? But then, since they are able to exploit the digital technologies and thanks to Moore's law, right? So every year, the computing power is becoming faster, cheaper, memory is becoming cheaper. And with all of that, it becomes very easy for them. At a fraction of the cost, they are able to get a very large number of customers or a great customer experience. So this is what the digital companies kind of do. So what is that as you and me in the organizations we are in, is that how do we bring in and kind of face this kind of a headwind which is there? Thanks to the technologies which are available, it is possible to add this kind of a digital disruption and the processes, take the processes which can bring in similar change. You can think about, right, because when we are a traditional enterprise, we have current set of processes. We have current set of people. There are human handoffs, right? There are legacy systems. There is a regulated environment which we need to operate in. So how do we face this kind of a existential threat which our organizations are facing, and how do we experiment with the digital technologies and establish them in our organization? What I have seen is that it is possible. It is possible for traditional organizations to do this kind of and achieve this kind of a curve as far as customer experience is concerned, right? And that brings me to the next point, which is about how do we decide which projects we should take for our digital projects, right? So one approach is that take something simple, right? Is use some RPA technology, use few bots, and add or reduce few number of FTs. Versus that, if I have to really bring in that digital transformation, I can set with a goal of the end objectives of the organization, the high impact projects. What are those projects where I can increase the customer experience, improve the customer experience 10x, how do I add a completely new revenue channel for my organization, which we are not able to address because of X, Y, Z reasons, right? So when you basically start with that objective and choose the processes, then once you succeed in your organization, then everything falls in place. I have seen organizations which start small, right? And when they start small, the project gets successful, but it stops there. Nobody notices it, right? It's not a very huge impact. And when nobody notices it, not even management notices it. And when management doesn't notice it, then you don't have a chance of really having a great buy-in. And across the departments, having the automation being taken up. It's important because automation projects as such will not give a great ROI if you are doing 1 or 2 bots, right? A project here and there. It will not fetch any benefit. You will be able to get benefit only when it becomes an enterprise-wide initiative. That is where really a big ROI for the organization is. So what we have seen is that as a technology, it should support this kind of objective, right? Because the technology should not say that, hey, it can do only is mimic the screens. And that is where it brings me to the point of hyperautomation. Gartner has recently started talking about it. Our platform, when you look at it, and you would have some of our customers would have seen our wheel, which is called as AutomationEdge wheel, contains those important automation, hyperautomation building blocks, right? Gartner tells that when they refer to hyperautomation, they say that it's a combination of the tools, right? The RPA is an important building block. They say iPaaS is integration platform as a service is an important block. Data integration and ETL is an important block in that. It's about packaged application and low-code platforms is also part of that, right? So that's what basically they are started talking about it. And when we designed our product, we designed with that in mind, is that it has to be an enterprise-wide automation platform and not just a RPA product and RPA bots. So when we look at the enterprise, what happens in an enterprise, right? So there are a set of customers who interact with the organization. And when they interact, they send an email, right? Or they call, or they fill a form. Where does it reach then? It reaches to the organization workflow system. And the workflow system they may have a BPM platform, they may have a Salesforce platform, they may have a low-code platform, or they may have an ITSM system. So all these there are employee workflows, there are customer workflows, right? And there are IT workflows. That is where the next step comes, right? And from there, the operations staff looks at basically the task at hand, and then they connect to business applications, a core policy admin application or a core banking application, and they basically transfer the information, punch in the data, and all of that. This is a traditional enterprise. Versus with hyperautomation, what we are bringing in as Automation Edge is we are adding additional layers which will allow you to do an enterprise-wide automation, right? So your customers will interact with your organization, including with email, right? With a chat, with a Twitter handle. So various channels can be there, or a phone call, or an IVR, right? So what we have is an AI engine, what we call it as a front-end AI, which understands the language, right, which the customers are speaking, and makes sense out of it. It has, for certain verticals, even it has understood the language of that domain, right? For example, it understands the domain understanding of IT support, for example. From there, it decides, or for that matter, customer support. So it decides which workflow engine to call and where the information to transfer. So it will basically transfer. That's a human handoff. Will allow humans to do few things. And from there, the back-end AI will kick in, the Congibots of Automation Edge, they will kick in. They will take that information. They will decide which particular next step to be done, right? So the next steps available within Automation Edge is about RPA, ETL, data integration, iPaaS. All these hyper-automation technologies are available and bundled within the within Automation Edge stack itself. So basically it goes to that. It will go and do the more workhorse part of it, go to the different system and update those systems and act on it. So if you see, we are not stopping you saying that, oh, we can do only screen-based automation. What we are saying is that you need to have your bigger objectives of the organization, and we will help you meet those bigger objectives in terms of creating a new revenue channels and having a great customer experience or kind of improving the compliances and things like that. So this is hyper-automation platform for digital enterprise, and this is what we are launching today. You will see this in action during our product demo. So what we are giving for our customers a choice of deployment, right? So we are one of the leaders in this space who launched a pure everything in cloud platform as far as hyper-automation is concerned. So you can have your servers in cloud, you can have your agents in cloud, you have your reporting engine in cloud. So all of that can be completely on the cloud. So you will hear it today from some of our customers how they are able to use it in America's everything in cloud platform. You have an option of using a hybrid platform, wherein the server in the cloud and the agents on-premise. If you are a regulated industry and you want everything on-prem, that is also an option which is available. Another is freedom of consumption, right? And especially when in a cloud format, all three options are available. Where you can have is a subscription-based consumption, and we understand that you might have few of the loads which are month-end, quarter-end, year-end kind of loads, right? So where you will basically need to spin up additional agents for few hours to basically handle the month-end loads or a quarter-end loads. So you have a choice of pay-per-use over and above your subscription to kind of consume for those peak loads. Third is that you have an option of using it as a service, right? Literally, for particular services, we are launching initially per ticket kind of consumption, right? As a consumption or a subscription for that service, and as a service that's being available to you, right? So another thing is that what we are kind of doing today is we are launching our microsite, which is called as AutomationEdge.ai, and this is focused towards our AI offering specifically for IT domain. And with that, let me call upon stage Automation Edge leadership team on stage, COO and co-founder Prasad Patwa, Yogesh Ketkar, CTO and co-founder, and Siva Jituri on stage, who is Executive Vice President Sales for Americas on the stage for the launch of Automation Edge Hyper-Automation platform with Congibots.
Let me introduce Himanshu, our product manager, to give the demo of our Hyper-Automation Cognibot platform. Himanshu?